Hello my friends, today we're gonna make a f***ing hard bass house drop similar to Dirty Palm in FL Studio 20. Let's start by creating a fat lead. The lead actually consists of two parts. Part 1 of the melody. And part 2 of the melody. I used a total of 8 layers for part 1. And 3 layers for part 2. Now guys, let's add some mixing effects to really push the lead. Our goal here is to make it as powerful as possible while still sounding crisp and clean. We'll start with an EQ, then compression with OTT, a second EQ, distortion and compression with Camel Crusher, Sound Jedizer, EQ, distortion with Fruity Fast Dist, a fourth EQ, a very short reverb to add some bigness, and lastly I added a Fruity Phaser and turned the mix down to 25%. This my friends is what the lead sounds like without the mixing. And this is with. As you can hear, the mixing effects make the lead sound 10 times better. Now let's add a pitch automation for the lead layers. We're also gonna add a very big reverb and control it with this reverb automation. Now my good men, we will create a fat bassline, but first, I would truly appreciate it if you subscribed and turned on post notifications. Alright guys, let's start with the serum layer playing the bassline. Now let's add some more layers to make it more powerful. It's important that they sound different from one another. That way they make the bass sound full. Let's also add some stab layers that only play these stab notes. Now that we have our full bass line, let's make it more powerful and crispy with some nice mixing effects. We'll mix the main bass and the sub bass separately. Let's start with the main bass. We'll begin with an EQ, then some compression with OTT, a second EQ, distortion and compression with Camel Crusher, a Sound Jedizer, and a final EQ. This is what the main bass sounds like without the mixing. And this is with. Now let's quickly push the sub bass to make it hit harder. We'll add OTT, Camel Crusher, Sound Jedizer, and a couple EQs. This is what the sub bass sounds like without the mixing. And this is with. Nice, guys. Now we're gonna add some nice drums and effects. In a drop like this, a lot of the power comes from the drums and effects samples. I started off by adding some nice drum elements. Then a couple percussion elements. After that I added the stabs. These are immensely important as they make the bass line a lot fatter. First I added some stabs that play at the start of every beat. Then I added some more stabs that play different notes from the bass line to make different parts of the drop hit harder. Lastly I added a short stab that plays on almost every other kick. Dirty Palm does this in basically every drop he makes. This is what the bass sounds like without the stabs. And this is with. When I was done with the stabs I added some growl and fill sounds and stuff to fill out the empty spaces and glue everything together. Guys, let's also make this cool bass fill. I made it using this distorted serum preset. And wrote down this melody. Then I controlled it using a cutoff filter automation. Alright guys, that was all of the elements of the drop, but before I show you the result, I would sincerely appreciate it if you went and checked out the sample pack. The link is in the description. Alright boys, here we go. If you liked the video, please be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Love you guys.